Alright, guys, today we'll be talking about learned helplessness. Why do we experience it and how we can overcome it? In the IT, the main reason for being frozen and unable to act on certain projects or tasks is because of two factors. One is the information overflow, and the second is performing too many context switches. What do I mean is if you have to focus on writing certain code and all of a sudden you are checking your profiles, analytics, etc., you'll be devoting a lot of energy on those mini tasks. And since the main task requires more resources, you'll be spending your time on doing the little tasks without performing your hard ones. In these cases, it's best just to turn off internet so you cannot do too many context switches and open too many tabs. About the information overflow, many times you probably would like to implement some new feature in your project. You start researching on how to do it, and you may spend days and weeks on researching different solutions. In the end, your desire to implement this feature might be gone. My advice here is just to set clear borders on how much time and resources you would like to have open and to be compliant with. In the end, just focus on 1-2 resources which will guide you in the process, and by having a little plan you can execute then the task. Another aspect causing learned helplessness is when you are in a startup and you would like to create different personas, and also you would like to research how the market will respond to your product. You may fall into this trap by going and asking a lot of friends and also potential customers whether they will like the product, what they would like to be improved in your product. So in the end, you might get confused by the influx of information, and again, the energy you're willing to put into your ideas will be diminished just because you're influenced by those people. So in those cases, just keep in mind your main idea, and no matter how many opinions you're inclined to listen to, in the end, just keep focused on what you would like to achieve, because after all, you're the owner of the startup and you would like to implement your own ideas. Of course, all the external opinions are important too. For the programmers, it's very common if you are learning a new information, such as you're learning a new framework, to get confused and spend months, even years, in trying to regain confidence in your programming abilities. The problem comes from the fact that the frameworks are being updated constantly, releasing major revisions, and even being rewritten in a way that is not backward compatible with the old versions. And this causes a lot of frustrations, because in the beginning you have desire to learn and to apply those new shiny methods and ways of dealing with information, and afterwards you get frustrated from not being able to keep up with the updates. You may choose to switch between different frameworks. Even worse, the information will pile. In those cases, it's best to focus and to put borders on learning just a little piece of functionality of certain framework, and to try to use it for real without overflowing yourself with just another course on the new features. And the key point is to gain confidence by replacing old methods with new ones offered by the framework. Also keep in mind that there is nothing wrong when you are a developer and you just know the classic tools, and to do your work with them if they are efficient enough. So you have to make your own choices on how much you would like to improve and how much this improvement will affect the end users. In the context of companies, another source of learned helplessness can be your supervisor, by just insisting for you to follow certain rules of coding and implementing certain practices that might be causing confusion in your understanding. In those cases, just because you have contract and you are willing to be compliant with the company rules, you may stay months and months by applying bad practices and unlearning good ones. My advice in such cases is just to try to apply your way and your vision of implementation, to have a lot of discussions directly without fear. And if the management is not willing to acknowledge your point of view, you're just free to look for another job. Otherwise, you're willing to accept this learned helplessness. So it's very important for you to be sure in your abilities and the way your skills can be applied. Okay, so that's for now. I hope you enjoyed the information.